we've got Eric Masaba, and he's going to be talking about Fairey Rotodyne. What is it, and why is it making a comeback?
Hello. This talk is going to be about how we don't need, nor did we ever need HS2, but we do need to improve transport links, both to and within the region, as well as find a new economic strategy for next 25 years. So it's not nice to be the last one hired and the first one fired, but we're Liverpool, so that's kind of way. HS2, well, they didn't even bother to put us on the map, and then they cancelled it anyway. So this story begins in 1920s when the invention of the autogyro, that's this thing, was made by a Spaniard called Juan de la Sierva. An autogyro is actually a cross between a helicopter and an aeroplane, but with the main benefits, the rotor's not powered, and if the engine fails, it can drift down like a parachute. So we had this thing in 1956, can you believe, the Fairey Rotodyne. It was basically an airliner-sized helicopter which could actually travel almost as fast as a plane. So Fairey created it. It was powered by these tip jets. So what the tip jets do is they actually push the rotor. They're like jet engines at the end of the rotor, so the rotor itself isn't driven. And this allows the aircraft to go almost as fast as an actual aeroplane, using the airflow to keep it abreast with this freely spinning rotor. It could carry 50 plus passengers. Here's some nurses in the 1950s who are demonstrating the capacity. The clamshell doors could also handle whole massive things like Land Rovers. It could also carry underslung loads, and it had the world speed record for helicopters at the time. So what did we do? We cancelled it, and we destroyed all the plans, and we said it must never be built. Now let's fast forward 60 years, and Sikorsky and Lockheed and Boeing, they're all making their versions of this. There's the X2, Eurocopter has a demonstrator. These are contra-rotating aircraft, but they're powered. Now, what this means is if we had something like this, we could completely change Liverpool. We could make those travel times 42 minutes to London, city centre to city centre, Oxford, half an hour. I think Belfast is wrong, it should be about 15 minutes. So that is the Fairey Rotodyne. That is something we had, and I don't know what's wrong with the government here and in Britain, but we could have actually made this thing work. If we do bring it back, we would have massive employment in this region again. I mean, this is Boeing's plant, I think, in Everett, but we could have this building, Fairey Rotodynes, again in the region, changing the economic prosperity for all of us. This is a Sikorsky plant. They're actually pushing forward their version of the future vertical lift, which was actually cancelled for the Army, but they've got various versions. Now, there's no reason for us not to seize the opportunity and say, let's do this again. Where could we site it in Liverpool? Well, obviously there's John Lennon Airport, but we've got that massive industrial park with AstraZeneca, Novartis, all those places. I know we've now got some vaccine plant coming, but we could actually bring back heavy-duty engineering. This is Liverpool Festival Gardens, which could act as the actual heliport from which this thing could take off, because you wouldn't actually have to go all the way to the airport, and it could land on rooftops in whichever city. You could get to Glastonbury in 50 minutes from Liverpool. We would need also to bring back some engineering for pumped storage. This is, I think this is Raccoon City or something in the United States, like the Norwich here. Basically, when we've got spare power, you pump water up a mountain, and you can let it come down. This is me a long time ago, maybe even 50 years ago. This is where I was at some NASA bases, Marshall and Kennedy. I was in the Air Force, and I came up with an idea for a stupid thing called taxi hailing by smartphone, which isn't too bad, actually. So I've got the IP on that. Now, NASA themselves, they use their various sites to do different parts of, this is their Future Vertical Lift project, which is basically their Rotodyne, because we started, the Americans take it. So how would we pay for it? Well, I just got my patent just last year, which this chap actually uses every day. So hopefully we can get the government to ask him for a contribution, and then we'd have all the money we need to make this thing. Now, as for what people did with the plans, because they got rid of it, well, this is the tumbler that Chris Nolan made for his Batman film. He literally made that in his garage with a box of scraps for Lark and you can actually make it from just stills. So we could get this thing back. It could be flying within 5 years. We flight tested it 60 years ago. It would completely change the entire region. We could go anywhere in the UK in probably an hour. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Eric.